Welcome, everyone. We're going to start a new story today. This story is about a boy who reads manga all the time, just like you and me. He was reading a novel about end of the world at the moment. He finished reading a certain novel one day, and when he put down his phone to go to the bathroom, their worlds suddenly came together. Buildings began to disappear. Also, strange numbers began to show up. The sun turned green, and a strange, evil being showed up in the sky to say that the Earth would now be taking part in fights in the abysses. If you want to learn more about how Sauta will save the world and take it over based on the novel he read, watch the whole movie. Watch as he builds his own clan based on the strong women he sees around him. The name of this series is in the description, so please give it a like and subscribe for more videos like these. At the start of the story, the sky has already turned red. Everything around me was a mess. And there's a guy with a big scythe stuck through his body. This one moaned in pain as he tried to talk. His armor was already broken, and so was his sword. He coughed up blood. He laughed. Then he looked at the enemy and told it to finish it up already. The hero who had been beaten was talking to this huge monster with 8 arms. There are also strong weapons in each arm that could destroy the world. It heard what the hero had to say. It jumped all of a sudden and began to build up its power. The scary thing was about to kick off from a high jump. It was coming at a very fast rate now. But the hero didn't look scared at all. He did nothing but stare at the monster. And then there's a huge blast. After that, we saw some writing. It turns out that the earlier scenes were taken from a novel. The person with the S-Rank ability died in battle. So the monsters won. And the world was filled with hopelessness and fear for all time. That was the end of the story for the author. He also thanked all the fans who helped. Someone held his phone while he read the novel. This person was lying in bed. He let out a sigh because he thought the finish was too cheap and rushed. The boy checked his phone one more time and saw that he was the only one who had read the novel. Secret Wonder, his ID, was at the top of the list. After that, he got up and threw his phone at the bed. The kid went to the bathroom. In the bathroom, he was singing when his phone rang with a message. It also has the message that the worlds will start to merge. Things were still fine the next day. The boy who reads the novel will also be our main character. He was going to school. He then saw something, though. At first, he thought that the large group of people there were protesting because work on a certain building was being stopped again. The more he looked, though, the more he knew something was wrong. When he learned that an entire building was gone, he went crazy. He was interested in where the building went. Then, this guy walked up to the front of the crowd. He looked around and saw that the whole area was empty. He didn't understand what had happened. Our McDonald's people around him were yelling as he stared at the empty space. They were very angry, because they thought the building company had taken down their house. A few of them even planned to sue them. The boy left after some time, but he couldn't get rid of a thought. He wondered if the technology used to tear down buildings had gotten so good that they could just disappear overnight. Our mock opened the door at National First High School, Class 16, but as he walked in, a dark figure was ready to attack him. It was this blonde guy. To our major character, he called him Sutashiju and gave him a hug while asking how he was. Suta was told the end of the world was finally here. He looked very sad. It's because you play too many games. Sauta poked the guy in the face and told him this. The blonde man then pulled out his phone and told Sauta to look at something. News spread all over the world that some buildings had really disappeared. Some of them were homes, apartment buildings, and even a whole condo. Sauta scratched the back of his head and said that these might just be chance events. The blonde man, on the other hand, answered with a smug smile that things were too strange to be happened by chance. It was not possible to remove a building overnight without leaving any signs. He also said, "Isn't this like the visions of the end of the world that Sauta read about in novels or comics?" Right away, he looked on his phone for the novel he had read, but it was too late. In the novel, the main character also went to class, and as soon as he walked in, his best friend told him that the world was ending, which was exactly what happened to him right now. He thought this might still be a coincidence. He wondered with a scared expression on his face if a story could really come true. Sauda got scared and ran outside right away. Is there something important he needs to do? He asked his friend to tell their teacher that he has a stomachache. The blonde guy was shocked and upset because his friend had never skipped school before. He told him he would tell the teacher that he was sick today. The MC of our story was still running while thinking about all the important parts of the novel. He knew that the buildings that had disappeared would turn into the teleportation circle that linked their world to the world of Abyss. And just like in the novel, the first teleportation circle has shown up in their town, and Sauda kept going toward the building that was no longer there. At that moment, he checked that the teleportation circle number 1 was indeed engraved there. The old man saw him looking tense and asked if the D group had also tricked him. He felt bad because he thought RMC had lost his home too. But Sauda didn't pay attention to the old man because he was still thinking about the novel. He remembered that 999 teleportation circles would appear all over the country, and each one would be linked to the pit. And at midnight tonight, monsters from the darkness will begin to come in. As the Abyss number goes up, so does the amount of fear it gives off. Soon, a lot of monsters will come into the city. The army and cops will use the weapons they already have to try to defend themselves, but it will only work against monsters with levels 1 through 10. But there is no tool that can hurt people level 11 and up. You can fight back in 2 ways, though. People from the magical world will give prizes to humans who beat the lower-level enemies. As rewards, they get weapons of war and special skills that make all of their powers much better. It was this way that people were able to fight the abyssal monsters. Suda then thought of the first monster that was about to show up. It looked like a big dog. Its teeth and claws are very sharp and can kill, but it moves too slowly. As he already knew this, he thought about getting the first kill and the prize that came with it. It was also said that there would be a special prize for the first person to kill this monster. In the novel, the first person to kill someone got a skill that made them stronger. He will be able to beat even level 2 monsters with this. While other people work together to beat one, Sosa will be able to do it by himself. Our MC suddenly said that he will get stronger with this plan in mind. People around him thought he was crazy when they saw this. Soda went straight to a hardware shop after that. He bought a lot of things because he wanted to make a tool that would help him fight, something like a long spear. This person was going to mix some pipes and knives. Sauda saw a woman with pink hair wearing the same outfit as him on his way back home. He wasn't even aware of her because he was so busy making a plan. The woman saw Sauda but didn't think he was also skipping class. The girl was then taking a break when her phone rang. She looked at it. When she answered, a man yelled at her that she needed to hurry home because they had something to talk about. With her eyes still on Sauda, she told the person on the phone yes. Our main character then went home and began making something with the things he had bought. First, he was able to make worn-out armor. He thought this was better than nothing. The next one was his gun. He did nothing more than put a knife on the end of a pipe. He said he was still scared, but he was sure everything would be okay. At 11:40 p.m., Sauda went to where the first transfer circle was. With his DI armor and weapon on, our MC said that no one else was there. As he got closer to the center, he saw that it was still 20 minutes before midnight. He was very eager to get the first kill. After a few minutes, there were only 5 seconds left until the first monster showed up. Heaved a sigh. As he kept track of the time left, he had already taken his fighting stance. He got ready because he could already feel the strong pressure. A red glow began to spread through the area. Things changed in the air too. A huge magic circle showed up and almost covered the whole area. It gave off a bright light that looked like it could reach the sky. In every other place where the teleportation rings were found, it was the same. Right here was the beginning of the abyssal monsters' spread around the world. Suda was shocked by what he saw, even though he knew what it was going to be like. In front of him, a monster that looked like a big dog really showed up. Suda said that this really is a monster from the abyss. As the thing came up to him, our main character said that in the novel, these things are weakest in the trash area. He only needs to stab it. He tried very hard to cool down since this was his first hunt. They just looked at each other. Our main character was going to kill it with one blow. The abyss monster was the first to move. It ran quickly towards Sauda. He knew it was going to happen. He was able to jump sideways and avoid the attack at the last second. These steps were Suda's only chance to beat it. He grabbed his spear and yelled at the monster to kill itself. Our main character was able to make his attack. The monster in the abyss groaned. Even though its body was still shaking, Suda knew what he had done. The monster's body fell to the ground after a short time. He thought it might be dead. Then he remembered that when monsters die in the novel, they drop abyssal stone. There was only one thing that could have caused the first kill prize to not show up as well. Then Sauta smiled. He knew the monster from the abyss was just pretending to be dead. It was waiting for our main character to get close so it could surprise him. Between them, he kept his distance and watched as the monster slowly died. The abyss monster tried to stand up again even though it knew its plan didn't work. It was too late though. It has lost a lot of blood already. After that, the monster started to go away. Then it threw down the abyssal stone and a weapon. A system also showed up and praised Suda for being the first person to beat a monster. He was given the soul of the lone wolf as a prize. The look on our MC's face changed. He worked very hard and it paid off. The machine then asked him if he was sure he wanted to use the lone wolf's soul, which he did right away. A dark glow showed up and went into his body. The lone wolf's soul was opened up, and it was taken in by his body. Behind him, the outline of a huge monster also showed up. Sauta let out a roar as if he had just gotten stronger. He was also surrounded by a dark glow. It shaped into a sphere and then swallowed up our MC. After a short time, Suda came out. His energy also showed that he had gained new power. The machine then told him that he had successfully taken on the lone wolf's soul. Here are some of the results. Physical body enhancement makes you 10 times stronger and lasts 10 times longer. Reflexibility enhancement makes your reactions 2 times better. As soon as Sauta knew the talent search was over, he wanted to see how strong he had become. A small hole was made when he flicked his arm on the ground. It didn't hurt him at all, which made him very happy. He made a serious face and gained more strength in his hand to test it even more. When his punch hit the target, it caused an explosion. There was dust all over the place. The MC said that he's now very strong. After that, he went back to looking at the items that the abyss monster dropped. He was interested in what the abyssal stone did. It grabbed the stone and ate it. He knew right away what the stone gave him because his eyes lit up. It was a skill for the space station. This one was like a storage unit where he could keep things safe. Our MC was a little let down. He even called it a lame box. He looked at the knife he got to feel better. The Sword of the Hunting God is a level 1 weapon. It makes you 2 times stronger and has a special effect that drains the target's health by 1 per second. His mind was blown because it even makes the enemy keep bleeding. After this, Sauta thought that he was probably the strongest person living at that point. No one could even be better than him. Further, he was the only one who had read the novel and knew what would happen in the future. He also said that 3 days from now, the second step will happen. He was excited about the benefits that were going to come his way. All of the kids at school the next day talked about the strange light that showed up last night. A blonde friend of Sauta's also ran up to him and gave him a big hug. But since his reactions were better, this one was easy for him to avoid. After that, his friend told him right away that something had changed about him. Just to hide his face, our MC turned his eyes away. The blonde guy then got up and told him about the monsters that showed up all over the world. He thought this might be the end of the world. He went on to say that this was also happening in other countries. People whose videos of it were posted were being banned. He was lucky to be able to save some of it. He showed that there was a stranger who told them something. Monsters came out of the foundations of a building that had disappeared. There was also something that happened after the monster was killed in the video. As if he didn't know anything about it, Soda asked his friend. The blonde guy said that the stranger told him that a reward fell, and then he got the lightning ability. This person saw the monsters last night, but he ran away because he was too scared. Then he asked Soda if he could go with him the next time so that both of them could get skills. Our MC just brushed him off and tapped him on the shoulder, even though he begged him very hard. The guy with the light hair thought Sauta was still not sure. In the evening, Their homeroom teacher finally showed up. She talked about the rumors that were going around, and it had to do with the strange light beams. She told them not to believe them or share them without thinking, and to be careful when they use the internet. At this point, she told them to only think about their upcoming tests. What Suda said made no sense. He said that in 3 days, they'll no longer call this a false rumor. His friend then heard what he said. This guy was becoming less trusting of him. The day went by and the bell rang. The homeroom teacher told them again about their upcoming tests before they left the room. Suda let out a sigh of relief when he realized it was finally over. However, he was cut off when his blonde friend walked up to him and looked serious. It was clear that this guy has a question. The main character rubbed the back of his head. He believed he was in danger. After that, they started to talk near the field. Sauda was asked by his friend if our MC had anything to say. But Sauda thought about it for a second. After that, this guy cried and was about to leave because he was scared. Something was being kept from him by his best friend. He looked back at Sauda with this look on his face and told her that he thought they were friends. During this time, the bald guy's name was also brought up. Look at his name, Takedo. This is something Suta wanted to tell him later. He had no choice, though, since it had come to this. Takedo told Suda that he could trust him and that he would keep his secret safe. He told his best friend not to blink and just watch him. Our MC was able to break through the pavement with just a flick of his finger. Takedo's eyes got really big in shock. Suda then said that he got this power yesterday when he beat a monster. Takedo was still amazed as he rubbed his best friend's hand. This exchange was then seen by the same woman who saw Suda skip class. She looked scared and wondered if those two were really romantically interested in each other at school. She had no idea that Suda was already telling Takedo about the next group of abyssal monsters that would appear. Our main character was going to help his best friend kill someone and learn a new skill. Takedo was still not sure, so he asked Sauda if this was okay with him. Our MC agreed, and in return, they agreed that the secret should stay between them and no one else. The day went by very quickly. Now Suda was on his way home again. He said that the monsters would appear in 3 days at a 30 kilometers away abandoned building site. It will be a little different this time, though. One of the monsters that showed up looked like a monkey. Its speed and sharp claws will make things hard. Suda smiled as he thought about how weak it was. The monkey's defense was the same as the monkey babies from Earth. The other one, on the other hand, was an abyssal monster that looked like an ape. It moved slowly, but both its attack and defense skills were very strong. Our main character looked smug as he said that he was faster and stronger than those two monsters. He was going to kill one of them and let Take-Two kill the other one. Then an old lady called his name, which took his attention away. This person made Sauda smile because they are his aunt. She put her hand on his and asked if he was going home. The old woman wanted to have dinner with our main character at her house first, but the strange things she did showed that something was wrong. Suda thought that his uncle might have come to visit again. His aunt then let out a sigh and said that it was impossible to keep things from Sauda. He then heard that his uncle was taking the house as his own, so she told him to run away while he still could. Our MC understood that she was worried, but he told her that he could now take care of himself. As he walked away, his aunt thought that Suta had grown up kind and strong, even though he had had a hard life. At the same time, 2 guys were drinking and sitting on the couch at Sauda's house. They really messed things up. This kid asked his dad why Suda wasn't there yet. He thought that his cousin might have run away again. What did his dad say? If Sauda really did that, it meant they could now live in this house. This drunk jerk even showed a piece of paper that said he had gained the rights to this place. Then they both jumped when they heard the door open. Someone told them that Sauda was here. The MC already had this dark vibe about him. When he saw the mess they had made, he glared at them. He told them they couldn't just come in here and do whatever they wanted because he was mad. His cousin didn't like the way he spoke, so he told our main character not to get ahead of himself. He said that Sauda was a spoiled brat. The fight between these 2 guys stopped when his dad raised his hand. Our MC was told that he's still a kid by Sauda's uncle. Besides that, he said that he and his mother got along great. After that, the drunk man got closer and told him to leave and live alone. Since Suda was already planning to go to college, that would help him have a better life. He even showed our MC some pocket money and waved it around. Thomas told Suta that this, less than $10 would be his pay. Again, his cousin walked in on the talk and told Suta to leave the house right away. At this point, our MC said that they should be the ones to leave. He was aware that the paper his uncle was holding was fake. This made his uncle very angry, and he lost it. It seemed like a good idea to him that they settle things in court since Suta had no chance of winning. Suta told these two that they had never helped his family when they were in trouble. His mother worked 4 part-time jobs, and Sauda worked 3. This was true even when his father was in the hospital and his mother had to care for them to pay for his medical bills. Back then, his uncle was brave enough to break into their house and steal some money. In the end, Sauda called them useless scumbags, but that didn't make this drunk change his mind. Without saying a word, his uncle just smiled and told Suda that the house would be his no matter what. Either go to court or he'll leave. His cousin said some more nonsense like Suda's mother really wanted this land, and that's why she got what she deserved. This jerk also said that Suda and his mom were just dogs that barked. He also said that she was after his money. What that guy said was his ticket to hell. RMC was very angry and told him to give it back, but this person made Sauda even more angry and told him to fight him. His uncle stepped in and asked RMC if he was really going to hit someone older than him. They wouldn't stop. They asked for it very much. As soon as Suda felt the urge to hit his uncle, he did so with full force. That was a great moment. It was a strong enough punch to knock him backwards. An angry cousin of his tried to get back at Suda by throwing an empty beer bottle at him, but he was quickly hit back. This guy's knees almost broke every bone in his body, and as expected, they also threw him away. He knew he did something wrong at this point. He told Suda that they would call the police and say that he started the fight, even though his body was still shaking. Because RMC was no longer interested, they told them to do what they wanted. After that, these two were left in the room. Because his father gets along well with Chief Ketu, Sauda's cousin said they should tell him about him. At the same time, Sauda went to his room and got his things ready right away. Since things were going to get worse and their court system would have to change, he didn't want to cause any more trouble. Our MC made a firm promise that he would get back at his parents, no matter what. He was packing up his things after a while when he saw these two again. Suda told them they could do whatever they wanted for 3 days. These two bad boys looked at each other. The thought that Suda's words meant he had already given up the house made his face swell up even more. This person didn't like the way our MC spoke, so the idea of telling Chief Ketu about Suda again was pushed back. In the evening, Suda went to a hotel and told the teller that he was going to get a king-size room for 2 nights. The woman looked at Sauda and thought he was a runaway. He should try their massage service, she told him, because it was really famous. She blushed because she didn't expect this offer. He also turned it down. He thinks he's still in high school, and the only reason he stayed at this hotel was because it was close to the deep void zone. The teller reached out and told him that all of their girls were cute and nice as he was about to pay for the room. Sauda was startled and turned down the offer again. The woman then told him that his room was on the 2nd floor, number 208. That night, it was clear how the hotel was feeling. Sauda was also seen grunting and sweating a lot. As things went on, a woman was making sexy noises. It turned out that noise wasn't coming from Suda's room. It was on the different one. RMC was also losing it because he kept concentrating even though voices could be heard through the wall. He rolled over in bed and decided to do something else. He told himself that this would have to go on for 2 more days. That night, the loud noises kept going on. Another person in room 210, whose name is Sakura, was also annoyed by the noises coming from another room. After that, this woman with white hair told her to keep going because this hotel is the closest to where they needed to go. With a pout, Sakura said, "That's just so annoying." Her face changed when she asked Mio, the woman with white hair, what she thought. When Mio thought about what was going on, she noticed that the woman next door was only pretending to be upset. It was clear to her that the guy wouldn't last for much longer. Sakura lost it when Mio told her what she thought. Those in the other room were not what she meant. She was talking about the building site that had been left empty. Mio told Sakura that she should be more clear next time with this sparkling look on her face. Then she became sad when she said that the world had changed and that they had to kill those monsters to stay alive. She also promised to do everything she could to help Sakura and hoped that she would soon gain power. Because Sakura knew how important their next task was, she reassured Mio. Following a 10-second pause, Mio agreed with Sakura and told her that she was right. The guy next door didn't last much longer than that. Mio was making fun of Sakura, and Sakura told Mio to stop. After 2 days, the second group of abyssal monsters came into the world at night. 2 shapes could already be seen in the area, even though there are still 30 minutes to go. It was Sauda and Take-Two. The blonde guy was still shaking, and he was getting antsy as he walked along the empty building site. He was told by Sauda that these Stage 2 beasts weren't strong enough to beat him. He only asked Take-Two to stay behind him. Once more, his best friend asked him if Suda was sure he could beat them. Take-Two told Sauda that he will use him as a stand-in and run away if things go badly. This plan didn't bother our MC in any way. It's funny that Sauda tried to confirm that they were still friends after that plan. Suda checked his phone after a while to see how much time was left. At this point, Take-Two also asked RMC if there would be other people trying to beat the monsters. He told his friend that things would probably be okay. In the novel, Sauda thought, people who wanted to hunt monsters hadn't shown up yet, so this was their only chance to get ahead. Sauda then saw something and told Take-Two to be careful. His friend quickly hid their presence after he grabbed them. This was because they saw 2 women arrive at the same time. Take-Two knew that one of them was Sakura Hanashima. Suta kept looking at the 2 of them. He was confused because this meeting shouldn't be possible based on the novel. Then a very important thought came to him that helped him understand what had really happened. In the novel, no one got the reward here because the people who tried to kill the monsters failed and died. At the same time, Mio put her hand on Sakura's shoulder and told her she was there for her. They also need to leave now. Take-Two told RMC that he knew Sakura's family had a lot of power, so the woman next to her should be at least a special police officer. This person thought that maybe they were also after the special prize. He told him in a serious tone that he wouldn't let those women have the benefits even if they did. When Mio and Sakura went inside the building, they saw a huge number 2 carved into the floor. She asked if monsters would really come out of this place. Mio told her that this was true and that animals were called to places like this at midnight. It was also said that these creatures were different from the beasts they knew on Earth. Mio got some bombs out of her bag. She got ready to leave the monsters just before they died. In addition, she gave Sakura a gun which she will use to kill her. Sakura knew what they were going to do. The 2 boys were still watching Mio and Sakura at the time. Now they were on the bars above. Take-Two was scared enough to be shaking already. He wanted power, so Soda told him to calm down. After a short time, Mio was done setting up. There were bombs set up. As Soda watched, he thought that these 2 hadn't gained any special abilities yet because they were still using human weapons. He was also aware that the ape would still be alive even if they were able to kill the first animal. There will also be more violence because the bomb will go off. He thought that no matter what, all he had to do was help them beat the monsters. So he smiled. And as the last 5 seconds before midnight came around, the mood around the area got stronger. Mio was in charge of the bomb's button. The timer runs out of time. As expected, a big magic circle showed up. There was also a dark glow around the whole area. The abyssal monster's movement could be seen from a mile away. And just like that, 2 creatures that looked like monkeys were called. Sakura even told them they were lucky that there were 2 beasts. Soda heard this and said, "Stupid people." Mio didn't wait any longer and hit the bomb button right away. After that, a huge blast was seen in the area. There was dust in the area, and Mio was smiling. She told Sakura to kill both of the beasts. But when the smoke cleared, they heard a loud roar coming from the animal that looked like an ape. Sakura saw that one of them was lying on the ground, but the other one wasn't hurt at all. The monster with the defense of a young monkey was already out there. This made the one that looked like a monkey mad. It ran straight for Mio and Sakura as soon as it saw them. Mio then used her gun to scare off the animal that was coming at her. But after a while, she ran out of shots. The beast then kept attacking. Sakura was told by Mio to leave as soon as possible. The angry animal that looks like a gorilla has already raised its hand. The person he was after was Sakura. Lucky for her, Mio was there to save her before the fatal blow hit. The animal broke up the concrete and grabbed one of the rocks right away. The thing that attacked earlier then threw the rock at Mio. The women couldn't get away this time. Mio took all the harm, but she still told Sakura to run and save herself, even though she was hurt. On the other hand, Sakura was still shaking. She is fully filled with fear. The beast then used this as a chance to get close to her. This woman was about to be crushed to a pulp. Mio screamed loudly for the animal to stop. As Sakura got ready for the hit, she closed her eyes. As soon as this hit her, she knew she was going to die. Then there's a big bang. The knight in shiny armor had moved, so they fought the beast and threw it away. The ape beast was fine, even though it hit a concrete wall. It was really out of this world at providing defense. Our MC came in like a superhero, and now he's protecting Sakura with all his riz. But his hand was shaking under that cool move. It still hurt him, even with all the changes to his body. Sakura knew she would have died without Sauta. Mio ran over to her right away and asked if she was okay. Following this, Suda told these two to leave quickly. It was clear that their powers were different and they couldn't beat it. Then Sakura spoke up and asked our MC why Sotashiju was here, but he wouldn't answer her. Right now, their safety was more important than anything else, so they should leave right away. Even though they were talking, the ape had already jumped and was getting ready to attack Sauta. Even though he blocked it at the last second, the blow had already done its damage. And since the animal's arm was still close by, Sauta grabbed it. He then screamed while getting his strength back. It took all of Suda's strength to throw the gorilla against the wall. He was worn out after this strike. He said that he was still on par with the beast, even after all the buffs he got. He then pulled out his weapon to end the fight. The strike had left the gorilla beast's body still shaking. It's clear that it got hurt. Our main character saw this as his chance and ran straight for it. He was able to make his attack and stab the gorilla close to the chest. The monster from the deep moaned in pain. After that, Sauta launched another attack. His plan to keep hurting his opponent worked out as planned. Then, a system message told him he had won and praised him for defeating a stage 2 abyssal monster. Before its body broke apart, the ape let out one last roar. As normal, monsters that were killed dropped stones and weapons. Mio and Sakura were shocked by what they saw. Also, they knew that the stones and the weapon were the special prizes they were after. The Sauta smiled. He was happy with how things turned out. Then he yelled at Take-Toe to hurry up and go down because the other beast was still there. He was yelled at by Take-Toe. He was stuck on the roof and didn't know how to get down. It was funny when Sauta said that his friend wasn't very useful. Our main character jumped to get Take-Toe. When he grabbed him by the collar, Take-Toe's soul almost left his body. Then they went up to the monkey that wasn't moving, and he told his friend to kill it. But someone told them to wait. Kaguya and Mio sent it. They each went their own way to Sauta. Their only goal was to thank RMC for saving them from the beast. That's not what Sauta saw, though. He thought that these two were just trying to kill the monkey. While they were thinking about this, Mio made him an offer with unbelievable terms. Take-Toe also said they should first listen to them, but Suda was adamant about his choice. After that, he gave his friend his tool so that they could kill the other monkey. Take-Toe had no choice but to take the weapon. Without a second thought, he dealt the abysmal monster its last hit. I really believe that Sakura should have been given this kill. Take-Toe was then given a stone and a weapon as a prize. Now, all Take-Toe had to do was eat the stone and get the tool. At the same time, Sakura told Mio that they should also go. Mio told Sauta that they would see each other again at some point. She also said that Sauta's information seemed to be more correct than her own. Mio used this chance to ask him to help them in their next fight. In exchange, they will give Sauta anything he wants. It was a great deal that made Suda think. Mio also said that the Hanashima family needs to get skills and special gifts because they are responsible for keeping the city safe. It was Suda's promise to think about it. They should leave quickly for now. He answered, which made Mio happy. She told him that he could call Sakura when he was ready. Following that, the two women left, which made RMC feel better. It was Suda who told Take-Toe to eat the abyssal stone. The other one was also taken by Aormic. Dark aura wrapped around his body again. The power quickly changed his body. That's when the system told him about the buff he got. It made the second skill of the soul of the lone wolf 10 times stronger. After taking in the new power, RMC caught his breath. Putting his arm out in front of him, he thought it wasn't that bad. Take-Toe, on the other hand, had a bad mood. This made RMC ask for the skill he got. After that, the blonde guy said he had the eagle's eye skill. He can see up to 2 kilometers away with this. He didn't think this one would help him in fight, but Sauda told him that his best friend had one of the better skills. Then he reminded him that Take-Toe also got a gun along with the skill. RMC got the level 1 assault of the flames weapon. The damage from this slingshot is equal to 10 times his strength and speed. Its strikes are fire-based. He smiled because he knew it was a great tool. Then Suda asked about the gun and how well it worked. Take-Toe no longer had that sad look on his face. He told Sauta that the gun is very accurate and that he could hit the target as long as it was in his line of sight. His 5th shot will also do more damage depending on how much health he has left. They were both happy because Take-Toe's tool works really well with his eagle's eye. After that, he thanked Soda for the chance. After that, these two went back to their home. As they celebrated, the thought of having the whole world in their hands came to mind. Mio and Sakura were also on their way home when they saw the busy street. Mio told someone she was sorry for her mistake, which caused them to lose their drop skills. She then told them for sure what guy's name it was who helped them beat the abyssal monsters. He went to the same school as Sakura and was named Soda Shiju. Mio told him that she would be checking his past tomorrow. The other caller then said something important. Mio sighed inside the room. It still had the same vibe. In the other room, rude sounds could still be heard. Then Take-Toe asked his friend if this really was where he had been staying for a few days. Soda said that he was used to the noise, so he should also get used to it. Take-Toe changed the subject and said that he has about 10,000 yen on him right now. This amounts to about $67. He was told that Soda still had a little more money, but that money will soon be worthless. The look on Take-Toe's face told me what he was thinking, even though he didn't say a word. He was quickly told no by Soda, who said he would not let him call for one massage. Soda had that thought, so Take-Toe made fun of his best friend. Then someone knocked on their door, cutting them off from their conversation. It was a drop-off. They ordered food together, and Soda went to get it. As he reached for the food, something caught his eye. This woman with red hair brought them their dinner. She had a red rose tattoo on her back that stood out, and she got a glimpse of RMC. The mood gets awkward as they both stare at each other. Our boy just rubbed his head, and Soda turned red. Not a single word came out of his mouth. He shut the door and thought, that was close. Soda was thinking about the event that will happen tomorrow at 8 a.m. while they were eating. There will be a new green sun instead of the orange one. The book also says that this one will be called the Emerald Sun. People all over the world will be able to see this because everything will be green. Also at the same time, an unknown person will say that the abyss will rule over Earth. Each country will not be able to ignore this, and they will all do something about it. Of course, there will also be a worldwide emergency conference. And when the 3rd and 4th transfer zones show up, people with strong skills will show up. These were the people who were able to kill the abyss monsters before anyone else. People all over the world will also start to train their own special reaction teams and put together their own armies. Scientists from all over the world will also work together to make tools that can fight the abyss monsters. People will not win in the end, though. These so-called high-tech tools won't be able to stop the monster's power. Then Take-Toe asked Sodi if there were already a lot of people with their level of power. Plus, his best friend was the strongest person in the world at the moment, so he asked him how he would rank him. It was brought up by RMC that there are currently about 200 people who use abilities. Take-Two would be in the top 30 if you had to put him. Sota seemed to remember something as soon as he answered this question. Take-Two was shocked too when he heard his rank. He didn't think it would be that high. He yelled, "This is really amazing!" He then saw that Sato was once again lost in his thoughts. He asked his friend what was wrong. Sota ran outside and told him he would be right back. Take-Two then began to think that his friend might be a reincarnator. He cried a little and asked God why he wasn't the one who was given that chance. At the same time, RMC was in the checkout ladies area, asking about a girl who was wearing a nice outfit. It was the person he had seen before, but the cashier told him that they didn't have any workers like that. But she remembered that there was a freelancer who fit his style. She says she comes and goes as she pleases, but she also says she doesn't understand why that woman kept coming back to their place when she could make more money somewhere nicer. Sota's face lit up when he was sure that was the girl he was looking for. The cashier then asked him if she knew her. RMC didn't answer her question, though. Instead, she asked her what room she was in at the moment. The lady then said she was sorry. She said she couldn't give out information about their customers. But her eyes got bigger, and her face changed when Sota gave her a lot of money with a happy, kind look on his face. The girl he was looking for is in room 502, she told him. Sota thanked her and told her she could talk to him if this information got out. He would do his best to help her. The woman at the register told him not to tell anyone about their deal. Then, our MC took the elevator and pressed the 5th floor button. He also thought of something while he was away. In the book, there are 12 people with special powers in the world. They are called stars. Every single one of them is strong enough to destroy a whole city by itself. At the top of that group of 12, there were 5 people. Their skills could not be beat. One of them has a power called Destroyer of Scorpio. The book never said her name, but it did talk about her personal background and past. One thing that made her stand out was the red rose tattoo on her back. Scorpio was very mean to men. She would strip them naked and whip them, and it looks like she has a room where she locks up the guys she captures. As Sota got out of the lift, things began to make more sense. Based on the rose tattoo and the fact that she worked as an adult, the girl she saw earlier was probably a Scorpio. After that, he stood in front of the room and thought about what he was going to say to her. Also, Scorpio doesn't like men. For the same reason, she can't agree to talk to Sota either. He was about to knock on the door when he saw it open, which scared him. The woman with the rose tattoo was here in this room. She saw Sota. She showed off her beauty and remembered RMC from the first time they met. Sota blushed and tried to say sorry for showing up without telling anyone. He was asked if he did try to follow her into her room by the woman. RMC knew things were going badly for him. He tried to say no, but he was too upset to do so. To make things official, the one leaned in again and whispered that a round costs $5. The kid wasn't ready to give up being good. Right after that, he quickly left while telling her that wasn't what he meant. The woman with red hair thought this was strange. She felt that Sota was acting strangely, so she decided not to stay here any longer. Takeda was already asleep in his room when we got back. Sota wondered why that woman was always making him feel confused. After that, he decided to forget about it and go to sleep for the night. Takeda woke up the next morning at 7:59 a.m. He asked Sota if he could still sleep, but our main character was facing the window and looking very serious. He told Takeda to stand up because an important event was about to happen in 1 minute. Tuka remembered that the sun was going to go down soon, so he quickly ran next to Sota. When the time came, he was shocked. There was dark smoke around the sun, which used to be bright, and this green light was soon going to circle it. Our MC said that it's about to begin. After a short time, the light had really turned green. People outside thought something was wrong with them and rubbed their eyes. After that, they thought it was the same for everyone. People in the area started to freak out as they saw this strange event. They had no idea what was going on. The bright green light kept going around the hot sun. The woman with red hair was walking outside at the same time. She's still tired, but she has to go somewhere else because Sota woke her up in the middle of the night. Her only desire now was to check into a different hotel and rest. She then saw that the sun had changed color. This one smiled sad as she thought about what her sensei had told her. Some other people also lose their ability to see colors. It turned out she was already sick. She put her hand up high like she was trying to reach the sun. She said that it's really beautiful. She is seeing this scene. It really is a strange sight to see. The green sun then disappeared and the Scorpius constellation took its place. It was like something went wrong. Only her eyes had seen it. She passed out in the middle of the street all of a sudden. Let's go back to these two. Take Two was told by Soda to get ready for what was about to happen. All over the world, people heard a scary voice. It said hello to everyone and called people dumb earthlings. The voice tells Soda and Take Two that some of them have already gotten their gift, and they both look uncomfortable. A purple, scary smoke began to form in the middle of the green sun. The voice went on to say that people who had gotten the gift already had abilities that were better than those of other humans. Because of this, they will now go through the real hell. The purple smoke then turned into a monster face that smiled at everyone in the area. It also said that they were going to play a short game, a fight between people and monsters from the depths. The War of Nothingness. His words made it clear that the abyssal monsters will go through the teleportation rings that link the Earth to the abyss. If people could always beat these monsters, they would be given skills that are stronger than ours. The news was also heard by Mio and Sakura. There will be abysses all over the world. There will be 999 of them, and they will range in difficulty from stage 1 to 99. As well, each opening will have a different number of abyssal monsters, from 1 to 9. And the only way to win this little game was to beat all of the abyssal ghosts. The wicked being smiled like the devil as he said that if humanity loses, they will eat all living things on Earth. In short, the abyssal war will decide whether a certain race will keep changing or die out. This thing then said goodbye and said it had given away too much information. The less you know about a game, the more fun it is. Before he went away, he wished everyone luck and hoped they got a good fight. It went that way. It was like nothing took place. Take Two talked to Sada after the speech. He wanted to know for sure if people would beat these monsters at the very end of the abyssal war. RMC didn't say anything, though. That's because the last hope for humanity had been lost in the book he was reading. The war was a total and hopeless loss for them. Then Sada told Take Two that they might be able to change the future if it were them. Take Two was shocked by this news. It was really happening that the end of the world was coming. At the same time, a conference that brought together material from all over the world about the known abyssal monsters came to an end. This gathering was led by an old man from Novalesa. He told everyone that everything they heard was true. Things we don't know about now play on Earth. Then the army official lost it and yelled that they needed to kill these monsters right away with their weapons. He even said that none of the living things in this world have been able to survive their weapons. This guy is named Kuji Matsumoto. In his note, he said that the army should handle this situation. It makes the most sense to kill the monsters while keeping human deaths to a minimum. But then someone spoke up and said that small guns didn't work against Class 2 abyssal monsters, as the story said. This person is called Ryuta Itsu. He also told everyone that they still don't know what kind of gun will work on the next abyssal monster. They were all unsure of what to do next. Most of all, the army. They could feel the stress getting to them. Then Yuta had a great thought. He thought they might want to make a super squad. They will get together people with superpowers to fight the monsters from the abyss. The person in charge of the meeting thought this was a good idea. The only issue was how to get all of those people to join. The old man then asked Ryuta if he could trust him with this. Kuji Matsumoto's job was to keep the peace across the whole country. When people find out the truth about the abyssal monsters, they will start to freak out. All of the people in that meeting knew what their jobs were and agreed to follow through on all of their plans. At the same time, Soda and Take Two were walking along a park and talking about what they should do next. Our MC told us that the country is going to soon form a super team to fight the abyssal monsters. This guy asked if they wanted to go with him. He was told by Soda that they would not. They are going to fight and work for money. The main character in the book gave up most of his freedom and most of his chances to get better when he joined the government. This is the first thing Soda is doing to change what will happen. He went on to tell Take-Two that becoming a member of the super team would have lots of benefits, but it would also limit their freedom. It's more important than anything else. Take-Two agreed with them and then asked them where they were going. Our MC told him with a serious face that he would just take care of some leftover business. After that, they will train for the weeks until the abyssal monsters show up again. There was leftover business that Take-Two heard about from his best friend, which surprised him. Then he asked if it was really about his uncle to be sure. He already knows what's going to happen next. The MC didn't answer his question. His face told me everything I needed to know about his plan. Take-Two put his hand on Soda's shoulder and told him that he would always be on his side. He also told him that he didn't have to be a thief right now. They did want to become heroes who would save the world after all. He knew that, Soda told him with a look. After that, he smiled because he likes to do things his own way. Let's go back to these two useless drunks. The house was a mess now. They both did nothing, even though they had seen the news about the monsters in the pit. Someone from Soda's family cursed and said that Soda should have given them the house a long time ago. They can't even enjoy living here now because of the scary things that live here. After that, his dad told them to chill out and enjoy the moment. The calm look on his face stayed there until he perceived something. They no longer have any alcohol. What he said was that his son should go get more. What was wrong was that he couldn't finish his thought. His son was attacked out of the blue. His throat was cut. The drunk man lost it and yelled that his son was dead. He had no idea that someone was already there with him. That was Sota. When his uncle saw him holding an awful weapon, he fell backwards. RMC told him that he was next with a cold and blank look on his face. Sota tried to reason with this guy that what he was doing was already illegal. He said that Sota killed people. This didn't bother RMC at all, though. He then begged for his life because this didn't work. He said that he was still Sota's uncle, even though he was shaking. They were also family. When Sota heard the word family, he got lost. Then he got very angry and yelled that this drunk was the one who cheated on his mother while she was still alive and killed her to get the wealth. After she died, his uncle didn't stop on claiming the last piece of memory that he has with his parents. His uncle took everything from him. And that's the reason it was impossible for him to see his uncle as his family. This guy didn't even have the slightest guilt in his body. Tears ran through his face as he was already scared for his life. He pleaded for Sota to stop. This guy even wanted to trade a secret that Sota wanted to know his whole life. But RMC had already decided. He will take fate into his own hands now. Before the knife hits him, his uncle exclaims that he knew who was the person who killed Sota's mother. And this revelation stopped Sota. He was frozen in shock. His uncle repeated the same words. All this time, he knew the killer. It took Sota a few seconds to process what he just heard, and as soon as he came back to his senses, he became more furious. He then asked his uncle who it was. This guy then told him that it was Chief Katu's nephew. That boy was drunk driving, and he hit Sota's mom. Our MC asked how the hell did his uncle know about it. He narrated that it was when he and the chief went drinking together. The chief had so much drink, and he unintentionally spilled the secret. His uncle then used this to blackmail him and extort money from them. Things were starting to make sense now. Sota finally found out why the police suddenly stopped investigating his mother's death. Slowly, his uncle got up and was about to leave the house. He told Sota that since he had revealed a secret, he shouldn't kill him anymore. At the very last second, this bastard glanced one last time towards Sota and thought that he would never forgive him for this. And this was the moment he knew he fucked up. His eyes suddenly turned red. He fell on his knees as he stared at the knife piercing through his chest. Blood splattered all over the place as soon as it was pulled out. Sota had this cold expression as he stared at his uncle's pathetic situation. And at that moment, Taito opened the door and was horrified by the scene that he witnessed. RMC then told his best friend that in the next few months, people are going to die soon, so he should just act like he didn't see anything. Taito tried his best to agree with it. Sota then added that he will now start packing up, and they will be training both of the special skills for the next 2 weeks. After a few more minutes, the duo was done preparing. Soda asked Taito if he was now ready for the legendary adventure, and his friend confirmed this. A final fist bump was always required to seal the deal. 2 weeks have passed by, and a car could be seen along the road. Mio was the one driving it. She told Sakura that he didn't expect Soda to contact her master and cooperate with them on getting Sakura a skill. Sakura answered it was the same for her. Both of them wonder how a simple student ended up like that. Mio tried looking for all the information she could find, but there's nothing unusual on Soda aside from some problematic relatives. Sakura then saw another abandoned factory, and she told Mio that that was the one Soda mentioned. She exclaimed that she could now see Soda and Taito, but as they approached the location, something caught their attention. There was an unknown guy leaning on one of the walls. He had this blonde hair and mysterious vibe around him. That's all the time we got for today. If you loved the video, please consider subscribing. Comment part 2 for next part, and I will see you guys soon. Thank you all for watching.